I am Brown Girl Banter.
I am Brown Girl Banter.
We are Brown Girl Banter. You are Brown Girl Banter.
We jump right in now. Hot
The
topics.
topics.
So, who's going first on hot topics today?
I guess
Maybe I'll do mine, 'cause kinda
you
like-
do yours, and then we'll bounce over to mine.
Great. So I think, and I won't take up a lot of space with this, but we are in Nashville, Tennessee, and as you know, was that last week or the week before?
It was last week.
It was, oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was the last Monday.
There was the shooting at Covenant School, K through 6th grade school.
Yes.
At that Christian private school. And so that has really had a ripple effect in our
Community, yes.
And
It's a
so-
collective trauma.
It is, definitely. And so everyone is experiencing it. Now, I told Lucretia, maybe I told Lucretia, I feel like I told everyone, including my own therapist, that our school is around the corner that my kids go to,
Yes.
which is also a Christian private school.
Yes.
Which is the same grades. And and my daughter is in the 3rd grade and she's 9.
Yes.
And so it is-
so a lot of things
Yes.
touching.
And so
Yeah.
the craziest part about that was her school was out for parent-teacher conference that day.
Okay.
But we were going to the school because guess who was assigned at 10 a.m. to be at Lipscomb for parent-teacher conference? Oh, that would be me. And so Zuri came along, and so we're there, and she's out on the playground during this time by herself. And so just the idea that all this is happening in
Yes.
this backdrop and this, how vulnerable, I realized it was the vulnerability I started to feel.
Yeah,
about-
most definitely.
I get in my car and all these, I swear, like 30 cars, unmarked cars
Cars
go
going-
zooming by, and I'm like, what is
What's
happening?
going on? Yeah.
And my daughter was actually going with another friend for a play date, so she wasn't even in my care after that. So I left the school and left her with someone. And so it's
Yeah.
just the fact that she had to get called into the school, and then they had to lock the school.
So down,
and it wasn't a lot of people there, but it was enough. And they felt they wanted to make sure everyone was safe. And I was like, man, that vulnerability of that moment was just a lot. And so I've just been talking to parents. Our school has kind of gone a little. We are like, what are the safety procedures?
Hey,
what is the safety?
you have to
protocol?
know.
I mean,
Yeah,
they
you have to know.
Really,
Put things
it was just a
in
little
place.
Too close for us. And the idea of watching that video, and if you haven't, please don't. If that's not comfortable
Yeah.
for you, of her shooting that glass, I think that vulnerability was like, oh wow. Usually they find an unlocked door or a window, or they go to the school.
They had everything in place.
And she literally meant she was going to
Get
carry
in,
out that
yeah.
act. And so I think that level, one, I'm an 8 on the Enneagram. I don't like vulnerability anyway, but that idea of just my child being vulnerable, me being vulnerable,
Been
really,
exposed.
I mean, I was a wreck for like a week. I had to really get myself together, which therapy helps, to
Yep.
really
Talk
process
about
my
it.
feelings and emotions. I called Amari a mess. He was like, which if I call crying a mess, then like
It's
what has happened.
it's something going on.
And he's at work and he's like trying to calm me down, and I was just like, the idea of being in the area, the idea of her being there, the idea of
Yes.
her being outside, the idea that I don't know why she didn't choose our school.
Right.
Like all of those things, I really had to process that and been really trying to deal with the after effects of my feelings, my emotions, why it had such a, effect on me. I think, and then talking to my children about it as well, because they couldn't get away from it. So it is really, I wasn't here during the rallies and the walkouts, but I was so proud to see that. I was in Canada at the time, but it was all over the news and even in Canada. So
The
that
kids
was amazing.
and the kids are like young adults are using their voice to be heard, because we talk about gun control, and usually the argument is like, well, we should have the right to bear arms. Yeah, we have the right to bear arms, but why does a civilian need an assault rifle? That is the question.
That is the question.
So there are things that can be done. There are laws that can be changed. There are things that can be put in place for the safety of our children and people, humans. We all are humans. And I think sometimes our legislators forget that you're dealing with human lives and the loss of human lives. And this really hit home because, everybody was doing Monday business. And then in a minute,
Everything
changed, and so it really hit close to home.
Yes, and some of you maybe didn't see because we're here and you aren't living here, but like even one of the newscasters, she had lived through another shooting, and so when she was trying to report, she became emotional. I was watching a news conference this morning with the 3 officers who were first arrived.
Yes,
and like the one said, we had to push past the victim to keep kind of moving, and I mean, so they are left with that trauma of seeing babies and adults, murdered, and you could just see on his face, and you could see by his mannerisms, his behavior, which is our job to pay attention to, that he is still trying to manage all of
make
that.
sense of it.
A loved one who is watching this, please go get therapy.
Yeah, most definitely. Talk about, because our first responders are that group that sometimes there's not support, or they don't think it's support out there for them. But I know a couple people that have really like made that's their focus, or they want to be able to do something for the first responders, for the parents, for the children. So that's one thing I can say about our counseling community. People have stepped up and it's like, we have this available, we have these times. If you know someone, please have them contact us. We're giving away pro bono services, and it's just like our community has really stepped up. And just even for me, because I'm not a parent, but talking to other counselors, because I'm a support to other counselors, hearing those that were close to parents or their kids were, maybe this possibility could have been their client, or just being like close to the community, and just hearing them, it's like, oh, I'm human. I'm helping people go through some things. How do I respond? And it's like, your humanness is gonna show up first and foremost before anything. And so just being able to have those conversations and being able to hold space for the counselors and being a support to them, and those asking, what can I do?
Yeah, it's been something. And I think, I'm again proud of our community, what a great month this is, because we really have stepped up to be support and to be helpful. So if anyone I have a lot of clients who are dealing with this, people who are like one person removed. If you need to seek out services, please do. There are so many websites, Psychology Today, Therapy for Black Girls. There are so many other things that you can go on to find a therapist. Call your insurance company, honestly.
Yes.
They can give you a list of clinicians as well.
And if you work, your EAP is another place.
Yes, to make sure that you are doing what you need to do. And for your children as well, because they're trying to process this. And you might not have all the answers, and that's okay. There are people out there who work with this every single day that can help your children deal with whatever they're emotionally or mentally trying to manage or go through this time. Yeah. So that's my hot topic. But that's my hot topic. What about you, my dear? What's been going on your radar?
Well, it's not that I'm not taking what this last hot topic was about lightly, but the other thing that's been coming up in the news on my news feed lately is the conversation between LSU and Iowa State. The two young ladies, on Saturday, the one young lady, she was cheered on for her, her demeanor and some things that she did. The trash talking that went on for Iowa State on Saturday, and then on Monday, the young lady for LSU, she did something similar, and she's been taken to task about it. So the young lady, if you don't know about it, the young lady on Saturday for Iowa State is a white female. The young lady for LSU is a black female. So it still kind of comes back to that whole point of, why are we not treated equally for our behaviors? Why is it? Because people have been taking her, and the black young lady, her name is Angel Reese, they have been saying she's classless, that she's ghetto. And if you read about her story, she said that's been her journey for the last year or plus, about people saying that she's ghetto, that she's classless. But her behavior for what she did was the same as Caitlin's. And so so that goes back to, and why we do some of the work that we do, is just looking for equality, seeing us as, don't say we're classless because you don't agree with what we did. when someone else does the same thing. And and I know in our journey, even in as leaders, and you work in places and you find out that your coworker's done something very similar, but you're called, or get passionate and you're called the angry black woman, and then your coworker is like, oh, she was just expressing her emotions.
Yeah. It's definitely felt like a huge double standard.
Yes.
And I feel like I was saying this to Murray because I felt like we were in Canada when all this was happening, but I was like, the racial component is huge, but I also feel like there's a gender component too.
It is.
I'm like, wow, so we're just doing all the isms today, like, men can, you too small, you can't see me. Throw up threes. We can they call each other trash.
They talk it.
It is intense. And the minute two women
do similar behavior,
not even to the extreme, as men, then you're not supposed to do that.
Yeah. Because you're a woman.
You're a woman. You're supposed to be docile. You're supposed to be, good game, good job. Like, okay, great. I'm not allowed to do that. I'm not supposed to show that type of emotion. I'm just supposed to.
It's about sportsmanship.
Yes, present a particular kind of way. So I think, which I really commend Caitlin and Angel for talking about that component too.
And they do.
Women get to show passion. They get to show emotion.
Because what they're doing is passionate work.
Yes.
That's their passion for those minutes that they're out there on the court. That is they're out there doing their best, and we're gonna have a winner and a loser.
Yes.
And it's like, but we know this. We know it, that everybody wants to win, but we know that somebody's gonna have to take a L somewhere. But how can we continue to show up? And why do outside people? That's the thing. That's it. It's why does outside people make it bad?
Yeah.
Because within the sports arena, they were like, oh, okay, that's what we do. That's not bad. But it was outside voices, people that probably ain't played basketball a day in their life.
Or people who haven't even watched women's
college basketball. They just if they watch, no, they didn't even watch it. They saw the pictures.
The clip.
They were on Twitter. Oh my goodness, let's go in on this.
The age of social media, we get to hide behind a handle
and throw rocks.
Yes, it's unfortunate, and so I think that I feel like we have dissected that at till nauseam. Poor Jill. I say poor Jill Biden, but I don't even know if I feel like poor Jill Biden.
No, because she was trying doing it. Let's make it right.
Yes.
We'll invite both teams, but no, in the game, it is the winner that gets to go.
And then turned into a racial conversation. Even more. I'm like, come on, Jill, get it together, girl.
Well, she was trying to do what she thought was right.
I said, Michelle called her and got her. Michelle
no, it's principle.
Dr. Biden, we are not doing that, girl.
It's principle. It's about principle. That's what it is. It's like we have to treat everybody. It's about equality and fairness. Because if it had been the other way around, would that same thing had happened?
Yes.
Would you have invited LSU to the White House if they had lost?
She's gonna say yes.
Only because she can't say no.
But I'm saying in her mind, she probably believes
but she can't say. Yes. But she can't. No, she would not have. Let's be honest.
I would have done that.
No, she wouldn't have.
Okay, girl. Okay, Jill. I love you, but okay.
But no, she wouldn't have. She would not have. We know because sometimes it's automatic response. And so you wouldn't have thought about it because it wouldn't have been a problem.
Yes. And I think the big thing that Angel Reese said, which is really going to guide us into, because our hot topics could take over our whole show, but I think guide us into our topic today is she said something really important about being unapologetically
Yes.
And being able to show up as yourself. And finding people who accept you for
you.
And I think that is huge. They talk about that a lot at the conferences, American Counseling Association.
I'm so glad that our profession has finally got hold on that we're supposed to be unapologetically ourselves and not cookie cutter therapists, but that's a whole nother conversation.
So that was really good. So I thought that was kind of the phrasing that I think is valuable and that we should really take about. If people can accept you for who you are, and I'm not saying flaws and all, yes.
Yes.
But you know, we all have to take some time to look in the mirror and adjust who we are, and you know, evaluate some of our behaviors. But she was like, "Hey, if this is the worst thing you can find fault in me for,
let's just
right."
right." And so deuces.
Exactly.